Hi, and we're back with another episode of ManaTutor MTG Draft. Today we're going to go over the winning archetypes of murders at Karlov Manor. It'll be another episode where I hope to increase your win rate as much as possible within 10 minutes. So let's dive in. We're keeping it simple today. We're going over the winningest archetypes and the color rankings. While I have looked at the 17 lands data, this will not be a data analysis episode, but I'm coming to you with the perspective having played 12 drafts in the first 5 days of the format, and it's become clear the winningest archetypes are the go-wide archetypes. This includes white-red aggro, what I'm calling green-white overrun, white-blue tempo, and white-black attrition. The winningest archetype is Boros white-red aggro. It's the best deck by a long shot, beating the next best deck by a 3% win rate. Often you can force the best deck for the first couple weeks of the format, and once the word is out, you can no longer force it. So you can try forcing this deck for about the next week, but after that I expect you shouldn't. I still don't advise that you force it, but I do think you should lean into it. This deck ends the game fast, but when boards stall, the tricks are pretty efficient. All the combat tricks that come with Investigate are really good. In terms of key commons, you still stick to Value Matters, with Novice Inspector being one of the best commons in the format, Dogwalker being a great go-wide card, same with Inside Source and Person of Interest. There are a lot of bombs in the format, so Makeshift Binding is a great answer to those bombs. Next to Dogwalker, Granite Witness is one of the best disguise creatures in the format, and as it can be played in both white and blue, is a good way to stay open early. With the go-wide, Fuss and Bother is a very strong card. Usually you'll be putting a +1/+1 counter on each of your attacking creatures, but if your opponent can get rid of your go-wide board state, you can replenish it with Bother. The next best archetype is white-green overrun. Having green, it's a great deck to be able to splash for your bombs, and the idea here is you can go aggro, but you don't need to go aggro. In fact, it's a good idea to stall the board early, give you time to play out your bombs in other colors, and then end the game in one big swing. We go wide with similar cards as we did in white-red, Novice Inspector, Inside Source, but you also get a Killer Among Us to go even wider, and you get Nervous Gardener and Buried in the Garden to splash. The key thing to bring up in this deck is Bustle. While the 17 lands data on this card isn't particularly strong, I've won almost all my games in this archetype playing that card. Being able to flip over a face-down card and then +2/+2 trample on your go-wide board ends the game in a swing very often. Just to note, I don't think I've ever cast Hustle, so I'm just playing this for the Bustle. The third winningest archetype is blue-white tempo. Blue brings a little bit of a different element to this deck. You start like a white deck playing out and going wide, but then you can finish off the game with bouncing some creatures or out-colding them and stunning them. When that doesn't finish off the game, you have enough value creation that you can go into the late game. And you get that with cards like Projector Inspector and Private Eye. Moving on to the fourth winningest deck, white-black attrition. You go wide on your board, kill your opponent's board, and look to outvalue them in the long game. Snarling Gorehound was a surprise to me. It doesn't look like a good limited card, but that value generation of Surveil 1 each time a creature with power 2 or less comes into play really does search through your deck. Also, any cards that are 2-for-1s are good in this format. Unscrupulous Agent and Macabre Reconstruction can do that for you. I want to point out Extract a Confession is quite good in this format with all the ward. It's not uncommon for your opponent to have a turn 3 ward creature, or just have a ward creature on the board, and Extract a Confession can take care of that in a cheap manner. At the end of the day, Wisp Drinker Vampire is a great value addition to end the game. Unlike the other white archetypes, white-black gets access to push and pull. I'm most often actually casting pull in this format as a finisher. If you've been following along, you realize we went over all the white archetypes. This is the first format, I think in the last 3 years that I can recall, with white being the best color. It's pretty clear the top 3 are white, red, green in that order, with blue and black being the 4th and 5th and roughly equal. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel so that you get notified about our next episode, where we'll talk about countering the white archetypes. See you then!